Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Unique Bio Classes based on NCERT syllabus for PUC first and second year. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe, like and share and hit the bell icon so that you can get notifications as and then videos are getting uploaded. Okay, we shall continue the class. As in the previous video, we have discussed about fertilization event. Okay, so we are discussing about sexual reproduction, events in sexual reproduction. First we have started with the pre-fertilization, second was fertilization, third one is post-fertilization. In post-fertilization events, it is nothing but the event which takes place after fertilization. Okay, the event which takes place after fertilization, we call it as post-fertilization event. Okay, so you can find events in sexual reproduction after the formation of zygote is called as post-fertilization event. After the formation of zygote, so as you know, zygote is formed during fertilization. Fusion of male and a female gamete results in the formation of zygote, is it? So you have this. So in a post-fertilization event, we have two of these steps. One is zygote formation, another one is embryogenesis. Okay, the zygote which has been formed during fertilization, that zygote, okay, as we said, two gametes will get fused. That fusion we call it as fertilization and results in the formation of zygote. So this was the zygote. Now this zygote undergoes further development to form embryo. Okay, so in this we have two steps. One is related to zygote, another one is during the formation of an embryo. Okay, so first about zygote, the growth of the zygote differs in different individuals as follows. Okay, the growth of the individual, the growth of the zygote differs in different organisms. Okay, so how does it differ? We have some of the examples here, we shall see. So it is as follows. As I'll be saying you all that you have to pause the video and copy the notes. It will act as a notes for you all. And if there are some questions, you pause the video and try to answer those questions. Think about that, then you can get the answer from the further video. Okay, anyhow, as we were saying, zygote differs in different individuals as follows. So first one we have here is about in algae and fungi. In algae and fungi, zygote develops a thick wall. Okay, zygote develops a thick wall which is resistant to desiccation and damage. Okay, now in algae and fungi, what happens to zygote? Zygote will start to, if this is a zygote, then zygote will start to develop a thick wall around it. Okay, now this thick wall, why it is getting this thick wall? Because to get resistant, okay, this thick wall is resistant to desiccation. Resistance means which can bear, okay, resistant to desiccation and damage. Now what is desiccation? Desiccation is nothing but the process of evaporation or the process of drying up is called as desiccation. Here this zygote, in unfavorable conditions, this zygote might undergo drying process or evaporated water content might get reduced. So for that reason, in unfavorable conditions, in this algae and fungi, they will start to get one thick covering, thick wall around it. Okay, so to get resistance from drying and even from damage. Okay, it undergoes a period of rest before germination. Okay, before germination, this zygote will undergo rest, a period of rest. This will be a rest period where it is developing a thick wall around it and it will retain the water content and it can live for a longer time. Okay, this is about algae and fungi. Next, in organisms of haplontic life cycle. If we are talking about haplontic life cycle, in haplontic life cycle, the parental organism will produce haploid spores, and these haploid spores itself will continue. The major part of the life cycle is haploid. Okay, in organisms of haplontic life cycle, diploid zygote will be diploid. That zygote will divide by meiosis to produce haploid spores. Okay, so here zygote is diploid. Okay, when zygote is diploid, then it has to produce haploid spores. How it will produce haploid spores? By mitosis. Once we have discussed about this, is it? Zygote, when it is forming haploid spores, then it undergoes mitosis. If zygote is producing haploid spores, then it is meiosis, not mitosis. If diploid zygote is producing diploid for the diploid spores, then it will be mitosis. Okay, so here in haplontic life cycle, when diploid zygote is there, it will undergo meiosis to produce haploid spores which grow into a haploid individuals. Example, this will find in Volvox and Spirogyra. This is about haplontic life cycle organisms. Next, in organisms of diplontic life cycle, if organism is of diploid life cycle, the diploid zygote, then zygote will be diploid, it directly develops into diploid individual as we have showed. Diploid zygote will develop into diploid individual by mitosis. Diploid individual will develop into haploid by meiosis. Okay, so this in diplontic life cycle it undergo mitosis, and example you will find gymnosperms and angiosperms. This is the general information of zygote. Okay. Next, in this part you will get we have got one of the question, why zygote develops a thick wall in algae and fungi. Okay, that was the question. So answer was resistant to desiccation and damage. Okay, this kind of question we have got. Next one. Next we have second stage in post-fertilization event. It is embryogenesis. In an easiest term, the process of formation of embryo, we call it as embryogenesis. The process of formation of embryo is called embryogenesis. In this, the process of development of embryo from zygote is called as embryogenesis. Either you can write this or that, whichever is easy, convenient for you all, you can write it. Okay, zygote undergoes cell division by mitosis and cell differentiation. Okay, it will undergo cell division and cell differentiation. So we have got one question, right? The two stages in embryogenesis, that is, one is cell division, another one is cell differentiation. Okay, we shall talk about this one. How does it help? Cell division, as you know, that it will help in increase in number of cell, because cell division, one cell is there, that one cell after cell division will result in the formation of two cells. Is it? So this will help in increase in the number of cell. What we said, zygote is a single celled. Zygote is diploid, single celled. Okay, so this single cell should form an embryo. Now the single cell should form an embryo means embryo is made up of multicellular. So here multicellular means from one cell how it forms many cells, that is by mitosis. Mitosis helps in increase in the number of cells. Cell division increase the number of cells in the developing embryo. Okay, so this cell division will increase the number of cells in developing embryo. Next one. Next you have cell differentiation. Cell differentiation, differentiate is nothing but that particular cells, the cells which have been divided here, these cells will differentiate. It will get one particular function to act as a tissue, organ or organ system. When these daughter cells, okay, because these cells will group to form one of the tissue, one of the organ or an organ system. For that we call it as differentiation. Okay, cell differentiation, it helps groups of cells to undergo certain modifications. Okay, group of cells, what does they undergo? They certain modifications to form specialized tissues, organs of an organism. So in embryogenesis, what is embryogenesis? The process of formation of an embryo, and there are two stages in that, cell division and cell differentiation. Cell division will help in increase the number of cells, and cell differentiation, it helps in modification of cells to form a specialized tissues and organs. Okay, I think this year we have got these questions to write about these two stages. This is about post-fertilization events with cell division as with the zygote and embryogenesis. Next you have about, okay, next here we have about classification of animals based on the development of zygote. Animals are classified based on the development of zygote. How does zygote is getting developed? Either this zygote is developing external, that is in an external media, or internal. Internal means inside the parent body. Okay, so this we have discussed in fertilization, external fertilization or internal fertilization. External fertilization means where fertilization takes place outside the body. When fertilization takes place outside the body means then zygote is also found outside the body. The internal fertilization means fertilization takes place inside the body, then definitely that zygote formation will take place inside the body. So based on this, it helps in understanding of this. Okay, so which are those we shall see. First one is oviparous. The fertilized eggs covered by hard calcareous shell. In an easiest way you can find oviparous, the organisms which lay eggs. Then you have viviparous, the organisms which give birth to young ones. Okay, so organism which lays eggs, oviparous. The organism which give birth to young ones, we call it as viviparous. So the organisms which lays eggs are reptiles and birds. Okay, viviparous, the organisms which give birth to young ones are most of the mammals. Okay, mammals you'll find many of the other organisms also are involved in viviparous. The fertilized eggs covered by hard calcareous shell are laid in the environment, which means in oviparous, eggs are laid and those eggs are fertilized and they are covered by hard calcareous shell. Now hard calcareous shell means this shell is made up of calcium. You might be seeing that outer layer of an egg that is whitish in color. It is nothing but calcareous shell because it's made up of calcium. And where they are laid in an environment in a safest place. Where safe place these organisms will find, they will lay the eggs. Example for these are reptiles and birds. Next, viviparous, the zygote develops into young ones inside the body of the female organism. Okay, as we said, viviparous, the organisms which give birth to young ones. Zygote is developing into young ones inside the body of the female organism. Inside the body of the female organism, zygote is getting developed so that it can get protection and care. The chances of survival of young ones is greater in viviparous. Why? This question it has been asked. The chance of survival of young ones are nothing but offsprings. Okay, the chance of survival of young ones is greater in viviparous. Why? Because of proper embryonic care and protection. Who is giving this embryonic care and protection? Mother. How they are giving? Because this zygote is developing inside the mother's body. When it is taking place inside the mother's body, then mother is protecting that embryo so that it can undergo further development. So that's why the chance of survival of young ones are greater in viviparous compared to oviparous. Because in oviparous, eggs are laid in the environment, in the safest place, but then to predators they might damage those eggs. So that's why viviparous are those organisms whose survival of young ones is greater because of proper embryonic care and protection. 1 mark question they have asked many times. Okay, this is the classification of animals based on the development of zygote. One is oviparous, another one is viviparous. What examples you will give for viviparous? Please comment it in the comment box. Okay. Next here we have about flowering plants. In flowering plants, the zygote is formed inside the ovule. Okay, the zygote is formed inside the ovule, and then what happens in flowering plants? We are talking about post-fertilization events. What happens in post-fertilization events? As we said, there is formation of cell division and embryogenesis, everything. And that details are in animals and even in plants. But in plants, flowering plants, first zygote is formed inside the ovule. After fertilization, sepals, petals and stamens, they fall off. Okay, the sepals, petals and stamens which are present in the flower, they will fall on the ground. Then zygote develops into embryo. The zygote which is formed, as we have shown earlier, it will develop into embryo. Okay, ovules develop into seed. If you remember ovule, we are drawing something like this. Okay, this ovule, this one, the center one, ovule will develop into seed. It is ovule. After fertilization, it will develop into a seed. Then this is the ovary. Then ovary will develop into what? Ovary will develop into fruit. Okay, ovary is this, as you might find in egg cell presentation. Here ovules are there, something like this. Okay, these ovules will develop into seed. Right, each one will develop into a seed, and this is ovary. That ovary will develop into fruit. Okay, then ovary develops into fruit with a thick fruit wall. Fruit consists of fruit wall, as you will find in an apple, in a banana, almost all plants. Fruit is having fruit wall, which you are peeling off, or sometimes you will have it. So for that fruit wall we call it as pericarp. What is its function? Protection. For pericarp we have studied in 3 different layers: epicarp, endocarp and mesocarp. Those are the different parts of the pericarp. So what is the function of pericarp? Protection. For whom? Protecting the seed present inside the fruit. Okay, seeds after dispersal, seeds which are present in the fruit, it might be of any kind of fruit. Okay, seed is present inside it. Seeds after dispersal. Now dispersal is that release of seeds outside. Okay, whenever you are having any of the fruit, so after few days, as it will get ripened, that the fruit wall will get opened, it undergo dehiscence and releases this seed outside. It gets ruptured and releases this seed outside. For that we call it as dispersal. Seeds after dispersal germinate into new plants. Because it has been dispersed, it is falling on the ground or somewhere based on its weight, and it will germinate on the soil. When it falls on the soil, it will germinate into forming roots, stem, other parts into new plants under favorable conditions. Okay, these are the modifications or changes in post-fertilization event in flowering plants. The earlier what we have discussed, that was post-fertilization in animals. Okay, so this is about today's class, and this completes your first chapter. Okay, chapter 1 is completed, reproduction in organisms. Hope we shall meet in the next video, and in the next video I shall start with the second chapter. If you have any doubts, any queries, please comment it in the comment box, and if you are new to my channel, please subscribe, like and share, and hit the bell icon to get the notification as soon as videos are getting uploaded. Okay, take care, stay healthy, stay safe.